now let's talk about Cassandra's little busy bees. I am a bee myself, so I definitely identify with the definition of what she considers the bee clutter bug. So she says a bee often has many projects underway and is usually a busy, active person. Bees are very organized and they tend to be perfectionists, and I denied that for many years, but I am a perfectionist. Most bees are very hardworking and they tend toward high achievement. A bee is a visual person who prefers to see their important and frequently used items rather than store them away in closets or containers. And a bee has a very detail-oriented and analytical personality. I'm not analytical. Bees like to keep their tools, papers, and other supplies out until they are finished with a job, often piling them. I have a pile over there. They are piling them until they can put them away properly. Yes. A bee's clutter issues tend to stem from piles of items that they're going to put away later and leaving unfinished projects out to be completed later. Yeah. A bee generally has a hard time letting go of items that could be used in the future. Okay, that's not me. But for the most part, most definitely, I identify as a bee. So, this is probably the one that is most like me. So bees, for the most part, you do want to have things out so you can see them. So if you're working with like your tools or even office supplies, like having pegboards or having things hung up on the wall, like of course this, and being able to see your things, taking doors off, is a little messy right now, but I've got things hanging up on the wall work-wise. I've got my vision board. I've got sticky notes. So being able to see what's going on is very helpful. And clear containers are helpful also, she says, which I agree. Let's see. What are some things? Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the piles. And if you are not a bee yourself and you actually you're more of you need less visual clutter or visual abundance, and you like to put things away, don't touch a bee's pile. That will create such frustration for bees. I do have piles, and I won't put a project away or I'll put it in a neat pile, but if I'm working on a thing, I've got to have a pile. I stack all my stuff together, and sometimes it can look pretty cluttered, even if it's tools. Like downstairs, I've got on the kitchen counter, I've got a drill and some drill bits, and it kind of looks a little messy, but I've got a project that I want to get to that I haven't gotten to yet. And if you put that away, I'm going to forget that I wanted to do that project. So that's how my brain thinks as a bee. So putting things away without asking first or touching their personal stuff is probably not a good idea. What else does she say about living and working with a bee? The secret to making a work list for a bee is to prioritize. So yeah, very true. You have to prioritize. So bees need to learn how to prioritize. So if you're helping someone and they are a bee and you are not, make a list with them or have them make a list and encourage them to prioritize what is most important, because there's lots of projects going on when it comes to bees. And then blending with a bee. When there is more than one personality type sharing space, I recommend always defaulting to the visual. Again, so visual. So putting things away in the bee's space or the bee's personal area is really going to derail them. So keeping things out as much as possible for them, if you are not, visual, really does help them. Okay. And then she also talks about how it's really hard to declutter if you're a bee because of you have a lot of emotional attachment. They tend to be, visual organizers tend to be very sentimental, which includes the butterfly too, because you're seeing your stuff all the time. So you're very sentimental and you don't want to give things away necessarily. And I have a little bit of that. I feel like I can get rid of like the practical stuff real easily, and even things that was sentimental to someone else. Like if my mom passes something on to me, I can get rid of that pretty easily. But when it's my thing or a thing that reminds me of my children, it is a little harder for me to release sentimental items. So, just as a side note, the way that I deal with sentimental items is I either one, put them out and display them, or if I'm storing them away, I have one container for me, one container for each family member, and it's a certain size, a size that I am happy with. And if it doesn't fit in the container, I either need to display it and really love it and look at it and see it, or I need to get rid of it. And I will take, from time to time, I'll take everything out, especially if it's getting a little bit too full. I'll take everything out and put my most favorite things in first, and whatever is left over are the things that I need to really like dig deep with myself and say, okay, it's probably time to let those go. You don't have space for it. Doesn't fit in the container. That helps to take the emotion out a little bit, because you're not the bad guy. You're not saying get rid of it. The container is telling you it doesn't fit. The container is telling you to get rid of it. So that's what I do. And I don't know if I heard that from Cassandra or not, or if I just came up with that myself, but I think it's really helpful for me. Okay,